Let's see here. Hey guys, welcome to another awesome week. I'm trying to do this before I go on break here. So, all right, this week we're talking about reducing clutter, focus attention on design. So at this point, we're trying to identify. We are trying to basically get rid of the clutter and do things the right way. Okay. So weekly visual summaries, reducing clutter, lab work, focus attention, design next week, project discussion, so forth. All right. This is usually where you come and present, but all right, reducing clutter, lack of visual order, use of contrast, decluttering step by step. So this right here, lack of visual order. You're demonstrating effectiveness of the most important consideration when selecting a provider. So what's important here is to identify a really nice way of portraying information. So we're showing a survey shows that demonstration of results is the single most important dimension when choosing a service provider. So you show here demonstration of results, you see example of local knowledge, national reputation, previous work together, etc. So this right here provides a nice, clear way of evaluating something to have an understanding of what is happening. Another one is demonstrating effectiveness is the most important consideration when selecting a provider. So it's important when someone is choosing a provider, say they're choosing a health insurance, whether they're choosing Highmark, UPMC, United Healthcare, whoever. This right here provides a good understanding of what type of that benefit equals. One of the largest changes is in this example. So the goal is to create a clean line, something clean. Never add data for the sake of adding data. Get comfortable with empty space, similar to pause and speaking. So what this means in a nutshell is, let's say you have a lot of data and you really want to present it to a client. And you really want to win this campaign. You want to provide support to them. But what you don't want to do is overdo it. You want to provide something clear, consistent, straight to the point, explain a really good story, and you'll have the best chance of getting it. I know that when I worked for a search engine marketing company way back when, my role, I didn't work on the marketing aspect of it. I prepared the data. I was the administrator. I did the software development, whatever, where we had individuals, campaign managers, we had analysts, and what they would do is they would go in and pitch it to the client. And they would pitch this idea, and they would do the same thing. They would take small snippets. They would make it consistent. They would not overdo it. It would be right to the point. And you can sell somebody something with that, and that's a good starting point. But once you're able to get the campaign, the project, and you start working on it over a period of time, you could show them, hey, here's where you were at when you came to me, and here is where we're at right now. Being effective with that is being able to provide the right bar graph and be able to tell a really good story with it. If you can do all of that, then you'll be very successful. So, use of contrast. Weight performance index. So, each one here represents a different topic. Business, competitor A, B, C, D, and E. So, for example, we'll go back to health insurance. We could be providing health insurance to company A, and we can say, hey, with Highmark, you get this. With United Healthcare, you get this. With UPMC, this is where you're at. All these different competitors, and maybe you don't use the proper names, but you could say competitor 1, competitor 2, and so forth. But this right here does give you a good understanding. But a little bit to me is when you look at this, you look at it. If you look at it right off the bat, you have somewhat of an idea of what it is, but you have to have a good story to tell with it. If you don't have a good story, then people are going to look at this and say, I don't know what this means. I wouldn't either at first until someone told a good story with it. And that's good though. I mean, because you're giving them a nice little bar graph. What you're doing here is you're making. They have to pay attention first of all, so they can't be looking on their phone, but they have to be intrigued because they're like, okay, what is this? Tell me a story. If you don't have a good story to go with it, you can lose the campaign. Performance overview, this right here, same thing. It has competitor A, B, and C. You can tell what the rank are. You could really tell what this is off the bat, but a good story goes with it well. Decluttering step by step. So this right here has analysis over a period of time, how one person did, and so forth. If we were in the classroom, I would have a friend of mine come in and show you some of the stuff. He is the CEO of a strategic pricing company, and he does some amazing stuff. I worked with him in the past when he was my director, and he has some amazing stuff that he does with stats and stuff like that, and absolutely incredible work. But anyways, I would love for him, I would have had him come in and do a special topic one week for you guys. But anyways, I just thought about him on this. So decluttering step by step. Remove a chart border, that could help. Remove grid lines when necessary. Potentially removing data markers. Clean up your axis labels. Label data directly. Leverage consistent color. So come up with a consistent. So let's say, for example, you're representing, like I'll use one of our clients in the past when I worked, was Pepsi. So you want to probably correlate all the colors that are Pepsi, maybe blue, red. If you're doing Coke, you're going to want to do red, black, white. You want to represent that company, I think, in a sense. You could use someone else's, but I would say represent who you're talking to. Remove chart border. If it's too much, get rid of it. Remove grid lines. Identify grid lines that you need to remove. Remove data markers, positions that don't make any sense. Kind of roll through this. Clean up your axis labels, so ensure that it looks consistent. It's not too messy. Label data directly. So this right here says receive. You know right off the bat that the blue line means and what was processed. Leverage consistent color. So you don't want to have 5 different colors in here. This right here has one, red or blue. So straight to the point. Same here, before and after. And reducing clutter. So ultimately what you're trying to do is you're trying to be that person that has less clutter on their desk and you can see what you're doing. Focus attention. Principles of visual perception. Proximity, which is important. Similarity. Enclosure. Closure. Continuity and connection. So proximity is something like this. This looks like you're playing a game with your brother or sister called Connect the Dots. That's what it looks like to me. But this right here could be something that you're showing an example of biological cell discovery of how things work. Same thing here. Similarity. What's similar here is they're different colors, blue or gray. Enclosure looks like dice, but how things are positioned in a certain pattern right here where this means something. So this might be a highlight of something. This could be an actual forecast of how you predict the stock market to do from day one to from beginning of the day to end of the day would be better analysis. Closure would be like this. Closure principle take unnecessary would be something like this. Continuation from 1, 2, 3. How are we going to process your axis removed? This would be a connection one. So and then focus attention. Stimulus, eye, brain. So like I go back to the one where it didn't have much data to it and it needed a good story in order to reveal what you were doing. And that's important here. It's important to be thinking. Where to look, so you look at these numbers, you think you're at the eye doctor trying to read numbers from far away. Same thing here, where to look, you identify. You want to identify areas that you could things that stand out or is important. Attributes, different orientations, shapes, line length. Know when to use certain measurements. That's what I say. Attributes by text. So this right here is what this is. This whole exercise, this whole lecture, is kind of teaching you how to use the appropriate, how can I say this? Use the appropriate measurement when presenting to a client. Know what text to use. So for example, you're not going to use a SnapTC text. You're not going to use some something from Roman numeral times, or you're not going to use wingdings if you're familiar with what wingdings are. You're going to come up with something that's proper. Maybe you go with a Courier New. Maybe you go with a Times New Roman. Maybe you go with an Arial. You're going to choose the right font. You're going to choose if you're going to make it bold, if it's going to be italics, if it's going to be underlined, is it going to be white? Are you going to, like right here, are you going to have blue where you want to get somebody's attention? Those are all important things. What size do you make it? Is it small? Is it large? Do you underline? Do you have an outline? Things that are very important, like in my job, I have my other job, I have a technical writer. So typically what happens here is if my group is doing a maintenance, so maintenance would be we're doing an upgrade to one of our services, or we're doing a new install, or we're fixing a bug, or it could be an incident, or whatever the case is. I send a message out to all parties that are involved. So anybody who's going to be utilizing the system at that time. So right now we're using we use Google for everything. So instead of PowerPoint, we use slides. And so I'll create a slide. We already have a professional template in place, and I'll create the slide and I'll add the verbiage of what I want to say. So I know what attention, who's the user, is it going to be important? So I specify, and I wish I had an example in front of me. I specify who my audience is. I give them right off the bat in the topic saying, hey, this is there's going to be a maintenance on service ABC on say May 22nd between 10 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. That right there tells them that, hey, there's going to be there's going to be an upgrade between that time. And then in the body of the message, I'll let them know what the upgrade is, and if there's going to be any impact to service, whether its service is going to be unavailable, or if it will be available, or if it will be slow during that time frame. So that to me is important, how I portray that, because if it's portrayed wrong, then I'll give you an example. I did make a mistake. A couple weeks ago, we were doing a upgrade to our TOS, which is our Transport Secure Layer, and we're upgrading it to the Internet Standard, which is 1.2, and we're using 1.1, but now they just come out with 1.3. And so it was important for me to get the message out, and I was getting the message out to 2,000 users, and I made a boo-boo, and I didn't realize it. I put in the body at the top of it, I put that it was happening on May 18th, which was Monday, between 10 and 10:30 p.m. But in the body, I had that it was happening on, what was it, 17, 16, 15th, May 15th at 10 to 10:30. So I had the dates wrong. And only one person in my group picked it up, and I modified it and resent it out, but nobody else had sent that out because I had it in the email as well. So when I send the body the email, I had when the date was, and then I had that information. But also what I do at the end of these, I will send, if it's not a good, like if it's an incident happened, I'll send them a progress report using a graph saying, hey, from point A to point B, this is how we've progressed over the last couple months. So to me, it's very important to send the right thing out. But getting back to that, I have a technical writer, and she proofreads everything that before I send it out, which is important for me because she may word it differently and that I was thinking. So that's good. Anyways, be professional, know when, and have a second set of eyes. Even if you don't have a technical writer, have someone else in your group proofread it, see if you missed something. Getting back to Preattentive attributes and graphs. This right here is an awesome graph. This tells me exactly what I'm looking for. This one's good. This one's better because it represents two different colors. I have like a pinkish and a grayish, and it tells me good things that are happening, bad things that are happening. This one right here offers different. This indicates noisy tire issues or the most impaired in the rain, complaints about an engine noise commonly cited, and excessive wind noise. So this one right here is of the top designs, concerns 3 are noise related. So you can have a certain amount, and then other areas you don't want to overdo it. So when you highlight one point in your story, it can make other points difficult to see. So that's important to understand when you're talking about a story. This right here can be risky because right here, I think personally we're using too many colors, and that to me is confusing. This right here is a little bit easier to follow. The leverage brand color, draw attention with black. So certain ones like client logo, this is good. Like I said, if you're using something with the client, use whatever their colors are. Position on page 1, 2, 3, and 4. Know where to position it out on the page, else it could be problems. Design, affordance, accessibility, acceptance. Acceptance is very important. These are aspects inherited to design that make it obvious of a product that's going to be used. Highlight the important info. 10% visual design, bold, italics, and underlining, case, color, inversing elements, size. Explain what you're trying to do. Tell a story. New marriage rate by education. Number of newly married adults per 1,000 marriage eligible adults. This right here is a really good graph, I think. It tells me right off the bat, I can look at it. It tells me the years. It tells me the different colors, what represents. This is good. This is perfect, I think. So this is awesome. Which is kind of an interesting graph, though. So it's saying that number of newly married adults per 1,000 marriage eligible adults. So it's more people who have a college degree. And this is a story that you can tell. More people who have a bachelor's degree or more are getting married. And the number actually has decreased. So originally in 2008, we'll say it's 2008, it was 61.5% people were getting married. But as time went on, less people at that rate was getting married. It moved down to 56.7%. But if you look at all the other numbers, like less in high school, you're still seeing that the numbers decreased in the amount of people getting married. High school graduate, it also decreased over a period of time, as well as some college. So the main plot to the story is the numbers were higher in 2008, and in the past 5 years they have decreased based off, it doesn't matter whether they had any education or a lot of education, the numbers have just decreased. New marriage rate by education. So this right here, if you could tell the story, it'd be good. And that's kind of going to be what this week is about, is telling a good story and making a good graph that pinpoints something out. New marriage rate by education. This right here, same thing that we talked about. Make it legible. Use consistent, easy to read font like this. I have a hard time reading it. Keep it clean. Make your data visualization approachable by leveraging visual affordances. Use straightforward language. Choose simple language over complex. Don't make it difficult for someone. It would be like me. By nature, my background's in software engineering. So if I wrote something and made it like, hey, this variable did this, and this linked list connected to this head, and this data set and constructor, if I start talking like that, no one's going to know what the heck I'm talking about. So it's important to make it down to English of what people understand. Remove unnecessary complexity. When making a choice between simple and complicated, favor simple. Annotations, break up certain areas. Distribution by customer segment. Acceptance. Articulate the benefits of new or different approach. Show side by side. Provide multiple options and seek input. Get a vocal member of the audience on board. So this week we're going to be doing a small project. I'll talk about it in a second here. Project discussion. So there is a group discussion out there already. Originally this was going to be a group in class, but obviously it's not going to happen. So forget about 15 minutes. It's 5 minutes. Demonstrate understanding and use of storytelling concepts. any data of your choice. So it's actually in the, and I'll show you here in a second. Next week we'll go over the weekly visual due, model visuals, storytelling, etc. So let me actually pull up it real quick so I can talk about it. All right, I'll tell you something else here in a second. So courses, oops, there we go. And it's not available yet, but it will be. All right, weekly for discussion. So like I said, it's supposed to be a group assignment. Demonstrate understanding of use of storytelling concepts and any data or choice of visualization of your choice. So find something that you have. If you want to use your company, maybe blur out who your company is so that way that you don't get in trouble and you're protecting privacy rights, whatever the case is. So this one right here is a discussion. So post something out there and tell a story. You don't have to make it a video or nothing. Well, actually, I did say create a video, so I take that back. You do need a video. So create a little video, post it here of something that you work with. I will also try to find something at my work and blur it out and show you some stuff that we did as well, whether it's past tense. So it's important. Another thing about this week is I have a lab, but I don't have it completed. It is Friday. I'm actually in the process of leaving town, and I'm running out of time. And with that said, I'll post your lab next week, probably Tuesday, Wednesday. So it'll be a representation talk. We'll just go a little bit more in depth with Tableau at this point. But your assignment at this point, I haven't posted yet. So it will be, it probably won't be posted till like early next week. So don't be concerned if you don't see it. Right now, I just have the summary and discussion. That's enough to get you started. And I'll even add an extension on the due date for it due to the holiday coming into it, so don't worry about it. But more or less, this is a good start for us. This week, overall, what we're trying to accomplish here is we learned some basic ways of putting graphs together and stuff. But this week is important on not so much telling a good story, but providing a clear, defined method that shows something. Like if you were out on, for example, use this background right here. I love the water. So if you're like back here on the water somewhere and you've seen this view right here, this view tells a good story. You see the sun coming in on over the clouds over the mountains. Up here, there could be some snow up here. I don't know where this is at. It's just something I grabbed. But nonetheless, this is a good story. You can tell anything off this story. That's what you need to get used to, is telling a good story. Pointing here, maybe there's houses up here. You could talk about how people travel from boat to here, whatever the case is. Tell a good story about it. Let's see, what time is it? I'll show you a place really quick. I think of Harbor, Earth Cam. Hopefully it comes up here. That's not what I want. All right, let's go. Real quick. I'll show you a cool place. What I'm talking about. All right. All right, so no, it's not going to come up. All right, here we go, if it comes up. All right, so they might be having problems. So anyways, I was going to show you this island here that's off the coast of Washington. It's awesome. My internet is going slow. My son has a direct line hooked up to it, and he's probably playing games, and he's destroying my internet feed right now, which is normal. See that? Wow. He's destroying my feed. Nothing new. All right. So anyways, this island right here is beautiful. We travel here at least once a year. This year, not due to circumstances, it's not happening. But anyways, it's right off, and I don't know why my internet is going so slow. It's right off the coast of Seattle's over here, and Canada's right here. So it's actually part of the United States. And it's amazing because you could tell a good story by just looking at. Like this place right here, we come here for hours and just oversee the orcas come through here. This is where the southern residents live at. That's a whole other story for another day. But nonetheless, I could tell a really good story by looking at this portrait right here. There's the lighthouse, which is beautiful to go up at night. And you can tell about how people travel from place to place. And so it's a good way of telling a story. So that's all we're trying to get at with the graphs is we're trying to paint a nice picture like this right here. Nice picture painted. We specify what that picture is, what's involved, and that's what it's all about. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a nice holiday break, and I'll talk to you guys next week. Bye for now.